You're sitting there wondering if she'll ever come back, replaying every memory, questioning every move. What if I tell you there's a way, not by begging, not by chasing, but by transforming yourself into the kind of man she cannot resist returning to? Stay with me till the end because I'll break down exactly what you need to do, step by step. When a woman pulls away or decides to leave, the first instinct for most men is to run after her. It's almost automatic, like a survival response. You feel an emptiness inside, and the only way you think you can fill that void is by getting her back immediately. So you call her, you text her, you write long paragraphs explaining how much you love her and why she should give you another chance. You start showing up where she goes, checking her social media, reacting to every story, trying to prove you still exist in her world. But here's the harsh reality. Every time you do that, you are actually pushing her further away. The more you chase, the more she runs. The harder you try to convince her, the more she convinces herself that she made the right decision by leaving. Why does this happen? Because human nature is wired in such a way that what is easily available loses value, and what becomes scarce grows in importance. When you're always available, always chasing, always showing her that you cannot live without her, you are subconsciously telling her that your life has no meaning without her presence. And to a woman, that doesn't make her feel special. It makes her feel trapped. It takes away the very attraction that once pulled her to you, because now she sees you as a man who has placed his entire worth in her hands. This pressure suffocates her. She begins to associate your presence with neediness instead of strength. And once a woman sees you as needy, it is almost impossible for her to feel the same attraction again. That is why the most powerful move you can make when she leaves is not to chase, but to pull back. This doesn't mean you disappear out of revenge or to play games. It means you consciously choose silence over desperation. You stop bombarding her with calls and messages. You stop proving your love through words she no longer values. You stop showing up uninvited in her life. Instead, you create distance. And distance is not emptiness. Distance is energy. It creates space for her to feel the absence of you. It allows her to notice what life feels like when you're not there, when she doesn't get your attention, when you're not validating her with constant effort. At first, she may feel relief because she expected you to chase. But as days pass, that relief slowly turns into curiosity. She begins to wonder why you're not acting the way she thought you would. She may even check your profile to see what you're doing, or wait for your message because in her mind, she was prepared for the chase, not for silence. That gap between what she expected and what she is now experiencing is where curiosity is born. And curiosity is a seed that grows into attraction. When you pull back, you shift the power dynamic. You go from being the man who was begging for her attention to the man who suddenly feels unpredictable. And unpredictability is magnetic because the human mind craves to solve puzzles. She will start asking herself, why isn't he calling me? Did he move on? Does he still care? Did I matter to him at all? Those questions don't weaken you. They strengthen your position. They make her mind restless. And when a woman's mind becomes restless about you, she naturally starts paying attention again, even if she doesn't admit it. One of the biggest mistakes men make after a breakup is forgetting their own value. In the desperation to win her back, they sacrifice their dignity piece by piece. They beg for attention. They apologize excessively, even for things they didn't do wrong. They put her on a pedestal as if she is the only source of happiness in their life. What they don't realize is that every time they lower their standards, every time they allow themselves to be treated as an option, they are slowly destroying the very foundation that makes a woman attracted to a man in the first place: self-respect. Attraction cannot survive without respect. And respect always begins with how you treat yourself. Think about it. Would you ever look up to someone who constantly doubts themselves, who begs for approval, who has no boundaries, who allows others to treat them however they please? Of course not. And yet this is exactly how many men behave after losing a woman. They put all their focus on how to please her, how to fix things, how to prove themselves worthy again, without realizing that in the process, they are proving they don't even respect themselves. And when you don't respect yourself, you cannot expect her or anyone else to respect you. Respect is not demanded. It is earned through the way you carry yourself, the way you hold your boundaries, the way you stand firm in who you are, regardless of who stays or who leaves. Rebuilding self-respect starts with shifting your perspective. Instead of asking, what do I need to do to get her back? The better question is, what kind of man do I need to become so that no one ever thinks they can walk away from me without regret? That is a powerful question because it places the focus back on you, not on her. It reminds you that your worth is not defined by whether she chooses you or not, but by the way you choose yourself. This means you must stop tolerating behaviors that dishonor you. If she disrespected you, cheated on you, or took you for granted and you still keep chasing, you are teaching her that your self-worth is negotiable. A man with self-respect walks away from disrespect, even if it hurts, because he knows pain is temporary, but dignity is permanent. When you choose dignity over desperation, you begin to rebuild the aura that makes people look at you differently. They sense that you are not easily swayed, that you do not need validation to stand tall, that your happiness does not depend on someone else's decision to stay. Women are naturally drawn to strength, not weakness. And strength is not about muscles or money alone. It is about the inner stability that says, I know my value, and I refuse to beg for love. The moment you stop allowing yourself to be treated as less, you instantly increase your attractiveness. She may not say it, but she will notice it. She will feel that shift in your energy because now you are no longer acting like a man who fears losing her. You are acting like a man who has already found himself. After a breakup, most men get stuck in one of two states. They either collapse under the weight of rejection, doing nothing but drowning in memories and pain, or they try to get her back by proving their love louder and more desperately. Both paths lead nowhere because both are focused entirely on her. But the truth is, the most powerful way to shift the dynamic is not by trying to change her mind, but by changing yourself. The version of you that she walked away from is not the version that will bring her back. What makes her curious again, what makes her rethink her decision, is seeing that you have transformed into a stronger, sharper, more confident man. This transformation doesn't come from words, it comes from actions. And those actions fall under one central idea: self-improvement. Self-improvement is not just about fixing one or two areas of your life. It is about upgrading yourself in every dimension. Start with your physical body. Your body is the first thing people see, and it sends signals about discipline, energy, and self-respect. If you've been lazy, eating poorly, or neglecting your health, now is the time to change it. Hit the gym, run, lift weights, train consistently. Every drop of sweat is not just shaping your physique, it's rebuilding your confidence. When she sees you again, and your presence carries the energy of a man who is disciplined and physically stronger, it sends a message louder than any words. You are evolving. But self-improvement doesn't stop at the gym. Your career, your finances, your goals, these are the pillars that define your future. Many men lose themselves in relationships, making their partner the center of their entire world, forgetting that a woman is attracted not only to affection, but also to ambition. If she left, one reason could be that she no longer saw drive in you. This is your chance to reignite it. Focus on building your skills, pushing your career forward, exploring new opportunities, and creating financial stability. When you level up in your work and ambitions, you radiate purpose, and purpose is magnetic. Then comes your mindset. The strongest body and the best career mean nothing if your mind is weak. Develop emotional intelligence. Read books that challenge your perspective. Listen to ideas that expand your worldview. Practice discipline over your thoughts. Instead of letting rejection make you bitter, use it as fuel to grow wiser, calmer, and more controlled. When your mind is stable, your decisions are sharper and your presence becomes grounded in strength. Finally, upgrade your lifestyle. This doesn't mean showing off or pretending to be someone you're not. It means creating a life that excites you, a life where you pursue passions, travel, explore, meet new people, and experience growth. When you do this, your life becomes bigger than her. And ironically, that is what draws her back. Because women are drawn to men who have a life of their own, who are not waiting for someone else to validate their existence. One of the biggest tests after losing her is how you handle your emotions. Heartbreak naturally makes you feel desperate, angry, confused, and restless. Every part of you wants to act immediately, to fix things, to reach out, to express what you're going through. But those emotional reactions, as natural as they may feel, are the exact behaviors that destroy attraction and push her further away. When you lash out, when you send long emotional messages, when you cry to her about how much you need her, you're not pulling her closer. You are showing her that you cannot handle yourself without her presence. And when a woman sees that you lack control over your own emotions, she feels justified in leaving because deep down, no woman wants to return to a man who is unstable and easily broken. Emotional control is not about suppressing your feelings. It is about mastering them. Every man feels pain, anger, or sadness, but the difference between the strong and the weak is how they respond to those feelings. The weak man allows his emotions to control his actions. He reacts immediately. He becomes impulsive. He begs. He explodes. He stalks. He falls apart. The strong man feels the same emotions but channels them differently. Instead of running to her for comfort, he faces his pain in silence, processes it, and uses it as fuel to grow. Instead of turning anger into aggression, he turns it into discipline in the gym, focus in his work, and determination in his goals. That calmness in the middle of chaos is what separates the kind of man she forgets from the kind of man she cannot ignore. You must understand something important. When she pulls away, she is observing. Even if she doesn't say a word, she is watching how you handle the situation. She expects you to break down, to chase, to lose yourself. If you fall into that trap, you confirm her decision to leave. But when you remain calm, composed, and in control, she feels something unexpected. She begins to question her assumptions about you. She thought you would crumble, but instead she sees you carrying yourself with dignity. That unpredictability makes her curious again because it shows her a strength she didn't notice before. Calmness also sends a message of abundance. When you act desperate, you are communicating that she is your only option, the center of your entire universe, and without her, your life loses meaning. But when you stay calm, when you don't chase, when you hold yourself with confidence, you are silently telling her, I value myself enough to continue without you. That energy is powerful because people are naturally drawn to those who don't need them but choose them. Every time you resist the urge to react emotionally, you are regaining power. Every time you stay silent instead of sending a desperate message, you are building respect. Every time you choose composure over chaos, you are reminding her and yourself that you are a man who can stand strong in the face of pain, and that strength is far more attractive than any emotional outburst could ever be. When a woman leaves, the man she walked away from is already familiar to her. She knows his habits, his patterns, his reactions, and most importantly, she believes she knows exactly how much power she holds over him. That certainty kills curiosity. And once curiosity dies, attraction fades with it. If she feels she can predict your every move, if she knows that no matter what happens, you'll be waiting at the door with open arms, then she has no reason to feel drawn back toward you. What brings her attention back is when you stop performing for her approval and begin living your life purely for yourself. The mistake most men make after a breakup is broadcasting their every move for her to see. They post things just to provoke her. They share quotes to signal their pain. They try to craft stories on social media that are secretly directed at her. But women can sense when your actions are still centered around them. That type of performance does not ignite curiosity. It confirms to her that you're still stuck on her, still revolving around her, still unable to detach your world from hers. And if she knows you're still there, waiting, she feels no urgency to come back. She knows you're an option she can return to any time, and options that are guaranteed rarely spark desire. The real power begins when you shift the spotlight away from her and back onto yourself. Instead of trying to show her what you're doing, you simply start living a life that fulfills you. You explore new interests, invest in your growth, connect with new people, and pursue passions that excite you, not because you want her to see it, but because you have finally chosen to live authentically. That shift creates a natural energy around you that others, including her, cannot ignore. She may stumble upon a glimpse of your progress, but because it's not performed for her, it feels genuine, and that genuineness triggers a new kind of curiosity. Curiosity grows when you become unpredictable. If you were once the man who always begged for her attention, and now you're the man who is silent, focused, and thriving, she begins to ask questions. If you were once always available, and now you're busy building yourself, meeting people, experiencing life, she starts to wonder about your world again. This wonder is powerful because it's not something you force. It's something you create by simply refusing to orbit around her anymore. What fascinates a woman is not a man who constantly proves his devotion. It's a man whose life is so full, so vibrant, so self-driven that she can't help but think about what she's missing. Curiosity makes her check your profile, makes her ask mutual friends about you, makes her wonder what you're doing and who you're doing it with. And every unanswered question plants a seed of desire. That desire doesn't come from your words or your attempts to get her back. It comes from the silence, the mystery, and the independence you embody when you finally start living for yourself. When a woman leaves, most men destroy their chances of ever seeing her again because they cannot resist the urge to force the process. They text too much, they call constantly, they show up uninvited, or they try to manipulate her emotions into coming back. This pressure never works. Even if she gives in temporarily, it is not genuine. She returns out of guilt, pity, or exhaustion, not attraction. And anything built on pity cannot last. That is why the wisest approach is to let her return naturally on her own terms when her curiosity and attraction lead her back. And this requires one thing that very few men have: patience. Patience is not just about waiting. It is about what you do while you wait. It is the ability to remain calm, composed, and focused on yourself instead of obsessing over her every move. When you wait with desperation, checking your phone every 5 minutes, stalking her social media, and replaying old memories, you are not being patient, you are being passive. True patience is active. It means while you give her space, you are also building your body, improving your mind, strengthening your career, and living your life with purpose. This active patience creates the conditions for her to notice the difference in you, and that difference is what eventually draws her back. Women are drawn to strength, and nothing demonstrates strength more clearly than self-control. When you show her that you can resist the urge to chase, that you can respect her decision to walk away without crumbling, you silently prove to her that you are not the same desperate man she expected. that patience forces her to confront her own thoughts. She starts wondering why you aren't chasing, why you aren't pleading, why you aren't fighting for her in the way she imagined. And that wondering is where her curiosity begins to grow again. Patience also reverses the power dynamic. In the beginning, she may feel she has all the control because she chose to leave. But as time passes and you don't collapse, she starts to question her choice. She notices your absence in moments she didn't expect. She realizes that the attention and validation she once took for granted are no longer there. That silence, combined with the changes she sees in you, begins to create doubt in her mind about the decision she made. That doubt is the seed of her return, and it can only grow if you have the patience to let it unfold naturally. Many men lose this opportunity because they break in the waiting period. They send one last long message, they try one more emotional phone call, they cave in and confess again. And every time they do this, they reset the entire process, reminding her that he is still the same man she walked away from. But the man who truly understands patience knows that silence and restraint are far more powerful than words. He knows that strength is not shown in begging her to come back. It is shown in letting her feel the absence of him long enough for her to want to return on her own.